and it's time to do a share on the video, and we're going to do this. And here we go. Okay, ready? Can you hear it, Sherry?
Yes, I can.
Okay, are you
So
ready?
wanna be
It's almost time.
a cool
Like the
kid.
video.
Okay,
Handle the ink and set.
new episode.
Looking real
That's us.
cool and fine.
I know it's loud.
Asking you faking it. So you wanna be
Here we go. Bop, 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 bop.
lonely girl.
There you go,
That is
Sherry.
nice.
I did it. Sherry M. Bonnie D. How are you, dear?
I'm great. How are you doing, Bonnie?
I'm fine. I'm looking for the transcoder. I want to see how pretty. There we are. Okay, good. I did it. It worked. Yes, I know. I could have just done the song, but I thought that video, I put so much work. I've got
Oh,
two
no, I
flowers.
like the video.
Thank you. I've got two flowers and sparkly glasses on today, Sherry. You think anybody will notice?
Oh, didn't notice the two flowers.
I've started to do that. I want to be very much too saucy. We'll have to get you flowers.
I,
Sherry,
I,
before should I do let me do the introductions now and then we'll catch up and see what's going on. So here we go. Everybody's heard this before. You know us well. Bonnie D and Sherry M too. Seasoned in tech, and we love what we do. From LinkedIn's halls to social's embrace. Give a hug, Sherry. Social's embrace. We share insights in our savvy people space. Now on We Dish, we're here to play, lighting up life in our unique and fresh way, chatting on culture, wacky news we adore, music, food, laughter, and oh, so much more. No politics here, just joy and delight. Join us live or on demand, day or night. You won't find us at night, but we're on demand, so you can find us anyway. Meet us. There you go. We're doing we're doing effects here. Meet us for real in our live streaming glow. Got to see it show the glow. Comments are welcome. Just play nice. You know who you are. You know. Bonnie D and Sherry M, you're two TOO saucy dames. Together we dish on life's happy games. What'd you think, Sherry? You ever get tired of that or is it still
no, I
cool?
don't. I don't.
Sherry, I'm going to ask you what's new with you. I think you have some news to share. Why don't you go
I do
ahead?
have some news to share.
Go
A couple
ahead.
of weeks ago, I ended my job at Wipro, which was sad in some ways because it's very sad to leave my Rising colleagues. Rising had been acquired by Wipro 2 years ago. Wipro's an enormous company, very successful company at what they do, but I really missed working with a small partnership and all the talent that we had. So yeah, ended that job 2 weeks ago, and since then I have been somewhat relaxing, cleaning up my house, getting in touch with old friends that I never had time to keep in touch with, planning a trip to Success Connect in late October, which is in Lisbon, Portugal this year, so that'll be nice, and I'm seeing a lot of my
Nice.
friends there. So yeah, been talking to some people about some future opportunities, but I don't want to jump into anything right now. So
Good. And probably getting to know Sherry also, right?
yeah, yep. My
Yep.
kids, and my grandkids, they're like, did I tell you I have both of them are working at my house now, both of my children. They went back to
No.
their old bedrooms and they're both working remotely, so they're using their old bedrooms to work in.
Very nice. Are the grandkids there full time now?
Oh no, no, no.
Oh,
The grandkids mostly have a babysitter.
okay.
Um, Chelsea would get nothing done with those two maniacs here.
And you're going to show us some artwork from them later on.
I will,
Sherry,
I will. They're cute, but they're boys. I had girls. They do stuff I never dreamed kids would do.
well, it's a different era, it's a different age. We're not talking about age. Sherry, our first topic today, segue from what you were talking about, is what calms you in our chaotic world. And our could be your personal chaotic world, the world. We're not talking politics. We're not naming names, nothing going on, no news references at all. But what calms you when you need to just take it down a couple notches? And I'll go. You go first.
Okay, definitely my kids and their kids, 'cause they're just funny. There's just a lot of laughter. And my youngest daughter has a new baby. So just holding that baby, he's only a month old, and that is very calming. But when they're not around, Bonnie, this is gonna sound weird. I like to be calmed by scary movies or thrillers or psychological thrillers on television or books. I'll read a lot of books like that. So it gets my mind going, like trying to figure out what's going on in the book.
Interesting, interesting. Well, for calming, I redid my kitchen recently, and it had an
That's
old-fashioned
calming.
it's calming. I'll tell you what the process wasn't, but the end result was. I went from a old granite countertop with lots of stone colors. I'm not a natural, I'm a black, white, red, and silver chrome type of
Of
person.
course.
That's the way I decorate most of my house, my homes, my apartments. And it sounds like I have a lot of places. I'm just living in one place now. But I had it done with a white quartz with a very, very fine and sporadic light gray vein through it. It's called Mysterian. It's the most popular one this place is selling right now. The counters and the backsplash. I had the cabinets, which were a pinky dusty rose. That's what the former owner liked, painted white. The walls are called silver satin. It's a slightly off white, not beige, not yellow, not green, not pink, not blue, just a slightly silvery white for a little bit of contrast. So the cabinets are white, the walls are this white silver, and the countertops. And I just bought a new kitchen set of black. They're very comfortable chairs and they look like leather, but they're faux.
Yeah.
And a table that's glass, beveled glass, 39 inches in diameter, with metal legs that crisscross in two directions underneath, like two X's that are hugging
Yeah.
each other.
See,
And it's
you don't have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old
no, I
visiting.
don't. I passed that. My grandchildren are in graduate school. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. When I walk in that kitchen, Sherry, it just feels calm. It's
I know exactly what you mean. Yes,
it's quiet.
I had my floors done, so I'm moving my stuff back in, and my living room is that way. My living room doesn't have a television and it has all our musical stuff in it, piano, guitars, things like that. And sometimes I'll just walk in there in the middle of the day and go, oh, I love this room.
Yeah. I think we all need rooms like that. I think we need places where we go and we feel. My TV preferences, as you know, are French detective shows, but I
Mhm.
recently discovered a new iteration, a spin-off of NCIS, which Mark, what's his name? Mark,
Harmon?
yeah, Mark Harmon. Sorry about that, Mark. Mark Harmon, what, 17 seasons, 20 seasons, and now all kinds of different people are starring in it. However, there's a spin-off called NCIS Sydney with a Y, Sydney, Australia. And it is
Interesting.
so good. It is, and the deal is that there's an Australia Federal Police AFP, and then there's an American team who comes to solve a crime involving a naval officer. Okay. So the two teams have to learn to work together. Of course, there's this male female friction and American versus Australia friction, but the topics are so, shall we say, deep that I was actually crying at the first episode that I saw. It it was so moving. The character who was the one with the conflict at the end. The story was so moving
I gotta write this down.
it was just NCIS colon Sydney, Sydney. It was lovely. I also watched, oh, my favorites. Vandervalk is back with Mark Warren. I have to see that. Magpie Murders season 2 is called Moonflower Murders. That there's just landed. I binged Emily in Paris, the second part of season 4. Oh my God. Those girls would please stop wearing shorts that are micro shorts. I'm sorry. I just don't get it.
Hey,
And
if you've
everything that
got it,
opens
flaunt it.
everything opens all the way down the front. It's like, what? Would you please get dressed? Anyway, the scenery is beautiful. And now there's a situation in Rome, not just Paris, with Emily, and it resolved very well. So that's what I do to calm. I don't read books except my author guest books on some of my radio shows, but I prefer to see the visual version of what would be. The Perfect Couple was a novel with Nicole Kidman and Liev Schreiber. That was a novel I
That
just
was
watched.
good. You recommended that to
Six
me. I watched
episodes,
that.
yes.
That was very, very good.
So that's how I calm down. And now I'm finishing up. I'm doing season, I think it's 20 of Candice, like Candice
Yeah.
Renoir, like the painter. They just dropped, and it's been in Europe. It's probably 2 or 3 years old already. It comes to us later. And it's beautiful. There was the first episode where she had just gotten shot in a police confrontation with a cop who was very troubled at the police station. And she's shot and she's in the hospital. You see her out of body experience of her talking to the camera all looking fine with a little bonnet on, a hospital bonnet in the hospital gown. And she meets a man who had a bad motorcycle accident and they're talking and it's their ghosts, their outer selves because they haven't come out of the operating room yet. And he
Oh my
shares,
God.
he said, how did you fall off your bike? How did you have an accident? He said, well, I'm an adventurer and I go to these places off the beaten path. And I walked into this house and there was a mummy and I fell off my bike. And she manages to report this when she comes out of her induced coma after her surgery to her team at the police station who are visiting her. She reports it, and there was a mummy, and the guy was right. Well, the upshot is at the end of the episode, this young man, this kid, is better, and he's walking out of the hospital with his wife or girlfriend or whomever the woman was, and Candice is waving to him, and he has no clue who she is. So she remembered the out of body experience and speaking with him, and nobody believes her how she found out that information. And it was a whole love story involved in the
Now,
woman
where
who.
is that one, Bonnie? Which streaming channel is that one on? Is that
I think it's Acorn. It's actually Acorn
okay?
TV. And it's very, very good. But you got to watch from the very beginning, which is about 9 or 10 seasons ago, because of her various romances. And oh, it's good. It's good. So that's how I come. I watch that TV. Now, Sherry, you wanted to talk about telephones. Okay, this will be a quickie. What have you got? We're not doing advertisements here. You don't have to hold it up, but cell phone, landline, favorite apps. Go.
Okay, so I have an iPhone 14. My whole family has them, and I really got into phones when my children were teenagers because texting to me was the only way they really would talk to me. But today, I
Yes.
I do have a few favorite apps. Of course, messaging and WhatsApp and things like that. I do use it mainly to keep in touch with people, but I do use it like a little computer too. So I love Grammarly. I've used Grammarly on my computer, and now I find that I'm on the go so much that I'm often composing things on my phone with my thumbs.
Me too.
And so I have Grammarly on my phone. The other one I like when I'm traveling is a flight tracker, which a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
airline
Yep.
apps now
Yep.
include some flight tracking, but this one, that flight tracker shows you exactly where your plane is, where it
Yep.
was, if it's going to be delayed. Yeah, that I love that one. How
I
about
have
you?
a well, I have a friend who has their own plane, flies their own plane, and when they're coming anywhere near me, I put in the number of the flight tracker, the tail number, and I follow them. And so I've used Flight
Cool.
Tracker for years. How about me? I think what's the next one? They just unveiled the iPhone 16, right?
I think so. Well, I
16.
just got an update, I think, for 18.
I've
The
got
update is 18, but
I don't know. I'm on the yearly trade-in program. That's what I'm on. So I'm waiting to pay off this year. So I have I guess of course it's red. I think this is the 15. I'm pretty sure. And I just read that you don't have to upgrade every year, but I like to.
yeah.
Apparently, there's a new feature where there's a side click where you can click photos instead of having to open the photo app and
Oh,
push the
nice.
button and select.
I
So
like
I
that.
would get it for that because I do a lot of pictures and we'll take pictures after this. So let's see. So I don't have a landline anymore. I finally gave it up when I was living in Durham. I was paying for a landline. And sadly, the landline was a conduit to fundraising from fake police departments on Long
Uh,
Island who were calling asking for my mom, who had passed away 7 years before. And I got tired of answering the phone and saying, no, Ruth is not here. And it made me sad and sad and sad. And that went on for a couple of years. So I got rid of the landline. Thank you, whoever you were. My favorite apps, I have my Dropbox alias, which is the gatekeeper to all of my files on my Mac. I have Dropbox now on the phone. So I can find my files at any time. I can find my Word documents. I can find anything I need on my phone in an emergency if I'm not here in my office. And I love that a lot. Also, photo and the video. I like those a lot. And let's see, I don't do my puzzles on the phone, but I just discovered in my calm new kitchen, I put my iPad sideways about 2 hours ago, and I put the cover on it and made the little triangle so it would stand up. And I did my words with friends. I have 52 poems, 52 games I play. What am I thinking of poems? That's next. 52 games, one with a woman in the UK and one with a man in Southern California. And the other people, I don't know who they are, but I have a total of 52 games. I was too tired to play last night. I have to play every day because we keep it up. And so I played them in the kitchen on the new glass table, in the new chair, in the new white kitchen. And it was so calming. It was lovely.
52 games.
Well, and I also play Wordle, Connections, Blossoms, and
Wordle.
Strands. And I've been sharing some of those with you, so you can
Yes.
send me your Wordle scores. And let's see, our next topic is grocery shopping. Do you go with a paper list with pictures, with coupons? Do you have an Alexa shopping app on your phone? Do you walk the store and buy aisle by aisle? Do you go hungry or on a full tummy? Oh, Sherry, tell me.
When I'm really organized, I go with a handwritten list. I like to, sometimes I'm efficient. I like to meal plan and write everything down. And for Thanksgiving prep, I would definitely do that. But I often just walk into the store and wander around, which is deadly because typically when I've done that, I am hungry. That's why I stop there and I will, oh, that looks good. That looks good. Yeah.
Well, I was using photos for my shopping list for a couple of years. So if I'm about to run out of milk, I take a picture of the milk carton in the fridge. I'm about to run out of my favorite bread, Dave's Killer Bread. I would take a
Oh,
picture
that's
of the
good.
bread wrapper and then I go to the store and I open up my photos and I look at the pictures and I know this store because I've been shopping there for almost 2 years now and I know where everything is and I plan. I'll start out in the vegetable department and then I go to the deli and then the bread department and then the meat department and then the dairy and then the ice cream and the frozen goods. And then in between it would be the juice and the chocolate chips and the baking muffin mixes and all that stuff. So and then the household stuff. So I know the store, but then a friend of mine said to me, "Shame on you. Why aren't you using the Alexa shopping app?" So I started using the Alexa shopping app. When I go to the store, I know what I need. But if I'm in the middle of the store and my cart isn't too full, I'll say, I must have forgotten something. And I open up Alexa if I get the Wi-Fi in the store and I go through the shopping list and it'll remind me, you need 9 bananas, you need a Vidalia onion. Today you're going to get green beans, you're going to get the turkey, 15% fat and all that. So she helps me a lot. However, I have made a policy that I try to get something different, new, unknown, at least once a month on my
Oh, that's
shopping trip.
neat.
Yep. Try something different. So I tried pineapple juice and I tried some fancy brands and I ended up with the store brand was just as good. It's supposed to help with swelling in your limbs. So I have combination of pineapple and cranberry I make myself. I'm sure everybody's saying, what the hell is she talking about that for? This is LinkedIn. Talk about technology, Bonnie. Not yet, not yet. Anyway, so I try to buy something new and if I don't like it, I don't like it and that's fine, but I experiment. And my joke with the checker who did retire on January 3rd when she had her birthday in her 60s, her name was Gail. She didn't look like a Gayle, but she was a Gail. I don't know how she got that name. Anyway, the joke used to
When
be,
you're a baby, you don't look like you look today.
this is
That's
true. The joke is, was I going to break 100 at the cash register? And so that joke, I don't do that anymore, and I don't joke, and then I'm not spending that much anymore. But I was buying so much. Oh, okay. So that's enough of that topic. Thank you very much. So I have a poem. You know, I belong to the Writer's Digest poetry group. I don't belong. It's not a membership, but I participate. And every Wednesday we get a prompt. So one of the prompts was on the road. That was on the road or traveling. That was the prompt. And I wrote an acrostic for on the road again. So it's
okay.
ONTHEROADAGAIN. Shall I share my screen and you can see it while I'm reading it?
Share it. Share it.
Let me blow this up here a little bit so you can see it. All right, here we go. Let me share screen, first screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, good. So here's the poem. Only once a week, never more than that, the sexy black Z4 ragtop drives, her red hair fluffed, red lipstick, black dress, red boots, ooh, baby, to explore the supermarket right down the road a piece on the right side. Once there, she buys more than she planned. Yes, it always happens that she doesn't need that Alexa shopping list. Okay, maybe just a peek. A mindful meander up and down each aisle and doubling back gives her delicious ideas that are somehow aligned with how hungry she is. Into how to spend $50 that week, of course. She needs 9 bananas, 2 half gallons of 1% milk, 2 for $4 blueberries. I have to stretch the screen of frozen shrimp, bag of everything mini bagels, 15 85% ground turkey. Yum.
Oh, bye. That's funny.
I'm glad you like that. Next topic, Sherry. The Emmys are on this week. all kinds of award shows were on. Apparently, the Emmys were on twice this year because of the writer's strike last year. So it was in January and again in September.
I
So there
was
were
wondering about that.
two sets of awards.
Okay.
Yes, that's why things look like they were doubled up. So
Okay.
here we go. What do you like to watch? Do you watch award shows? Do you love them or hate them? Do you watch them? You avoid them? Any favorite shows or awards? And do you watch to celebrity spot? Do you watch for the fashions, the speeches, or to make fun of them?
Well, so this is really interesting because I just answered before that I like to relax by watching horror shows and thrillers and yeah. So no, I don't usually just sit down and watch them. I find them boring to watch live, but I like to watch them on replay or the recaps. So I typically don't sit down and watch them anymore. We did when I was younger, and there wasn't so many competing things on television. But I do like the fashion. I think
Mhm.
it's very interesting if you followed the shows across the years, especially I think the Grammys more so than others. You can see how an artist matures not just with their music but also with their style. Because the first year they're there, they're not really dressed by a stylist, and then you can see their style changing as the years go on. So I think that's interesting. I really enjoyed the Emmys this year, and I think it's because there's been so much interesting television because of all the streaming channels. I feel like that's much, much more interesting than it used to be. And there's a lot of people, well, not a lot, but there's more crossover people from films going back into television. For instance, Jodie Foster won an award, and
Yes.
it was her first Emmy, and that was cool. And it was cool to see her in those pictures on television, and also
Yep.
cool to see her there with the television actors. Um,
True
because I remember
Crime
when she was a
North
little
Country.
girl.
Yeah. Was it True Crime North Country she won for? I haven't watched
Yes,
that.
yes,
Okay, go ahead.
yeah. Yeah, so I watch them usually in replays or recaps instead of sitting there watching the whole thing. I can't do that.
I tuned into the Emmys the other night, about 45 minutes in, and I missed a quip by Candace Bergen that I would like. I'm going to find the replay. Something about meow, and that was her line. We won't get into politics. However, I was sorry that I missed it because 3 awards for The Bear were already given out, and I just started watching The Bear, and I binged that 2 weekends ago. And I had started to watch it a year ago, and it was too tumultuous, loud, noisy, yelling, cursing, and I just couldn't get into it. But I was in between watching things I liked. There was nothing particularly on at the end of the summer, so I tuned it in. After you get past the first episode, you say, wow, what's happening here? And you get into the characters, the backstory. It takes a while. There are
Yeah,
some,
Ted Lasso was like that too.
yes,
First
absolutely. But
show
this
that I
is
watched, I was,
yelling and this
yeah.
is F-bombs. Every other word is the F word. And you have to get, and the decibel
Well,
level
it's a
of the yell.
restaurant, isn't it?
Well, it's about a family in the restaurant business. But
Yeah,
along the
funny.
way,
That's how restaurants are.
I know, but along the way, you get to see very high end, very fancy schmancy cooking dishes when they're going looking for ideas for what they want to cook. And you get to see at one point the woman who comes into the show is she wants to be an intern and then she ends up being a partner basically of the business. But she goes from restaurant to restaurant one night and you get to see the most gorgeous
Mm.
gastronomic things that she tries in different places all over Chicago. So it's interesting. And there is a
Why is it called Bear? That I don't know.
the family is the Berzatto family. So the nickname is
Oh,
Bear,
got
Bear.
it.
They're called the Bear. And the people they grew up with are called the Bear. So anyway,
Yeah, I want
it's
to tune into that one. That one, the guy that won the awards, was he the writer, producer? He was very interesting.
get the kids out of the room, get the grandchildren out of the room. Seriously, you don't want them
My
hearing this
kids
stuff.
grew up with that language,
Well,
so
your kids, yes, but the grandkids, no. But there is
yeah.
a cameo by Jamie Lee Curtis that is, she won an award for it.
Really?
A couple days before the live Emmy, there were some off-screen Emmys that were, and she won an award.
Oh
It
my
is,
God, that's
it's
awesome.
considered one of the best performances of her entire career.
Oh my goodness, I
Yes,
loved
it's in season 2, and it's called Fishes.
Okay.
And don't jump to that one. You have to watch to lead up.
Oh, Come
So
on.
that's that. So I won't read any more poems, although I had some. Do you want to share some pictures? We've been on about 25 minutes already. We can go a little bit longer. You want to go to the wacky stories, or do you want to
Let's
share
go
some?
to wacky stories.
Let's go to wacky stories. Okay, what's your first wacky story, Sherry?
Um, you, I think I brought one of these stories to you once before. The Department of Defense, I think what's happening is that they're aging out of their jobs and they're now coming out and forming other groups that are being very honest about the fact that there are UFOs. So there is an Academy of Arts and Sciences that was launched, I think today, yesterday, just recently, that's doing research into unexplained phenomenon, and it's going to support related technology. So keep your eye on that. I thought that was very interesting, and it's people who formerly were part of the Department of Defense, um, the threat program that we apparently have.
That's scary on so many levels, but I think there was a UFO here because I have two different earrings on, Sherry. I think somebody made me put on the star earring and somebody made me put on the plain hanging drops. Oh, diamonds, of course. Harry Winston was here, custom designing these for me, and Lloyd's of London. And sure, I'm only teasing. Okay,
I think that could be a
I,
new style, though.
well, I think it's probably an old style in certain places, but for me, it's new. So I thought I'd be a little sassy with the two flowers and the different, and the, see, it goes with the sparkly glasses. I didn't think I could see with these glasses, and they're just fine. I've had them for years and I was afraid to wear them, and I'm seeing absolutely
Why?
perfectly. I have a food headline for you, Sherry.
They'll go.
And I've done this on another show with somebody about a week or so ago, but I wanted to save it for you because I knew we'd be talking about the bear. Chef admits his smash hit pizza was invented by ChatGPT.
Really?
Okay. He says, I wouldn't mix these ingredients ever, but still the mix was surprisingly good. Here we go. A chef in Dubai used OpenAI's ChatGPT to come up with a pizza recipe, and it started selling like hotcakes. His name was Spartak Arutunian, head of menu development for the international pizza chain Dodo Pizza, DODO. He told the BBC it was a big hit. It's still selling on the menu. To reflect Dubai's culinary traditions, ChatGPT suggested a wild mix of ingredients, including Arab shawarma chicken, Indian grilled paneer cheese, Middle Eastern za'atar herbs, and tahini sauce. In simple terms, ChatGPT decided to create a cross-cultural hodgepodge of flavors to be thrown together on a pizza rather than anything particularly original, and people loved it.
I like the idea of flatbreads, right?
Well,
Can-
this was just a real pizza, but all of these crazy. ChatGPT also suggested for other chefs a pizza topped with strawberries and pasta. That was a flop. And blueberries and breakfast cereal. That didn't go very, very well. So anyway, I thought that was very interesting that ChatGPT, and also there's a velvet taco shop in Dallas that failed with AI. ChatGPT spat out funky combinations, and the culinary director said, I think AI is a great tool to use when you're in a bit of a creative slump to get the brain going. Let's try it. Maybe not. Okay, that's my first one. What's your
Well, I mean,
second?
you could get people into the restaurant saying you did that. Come try
Or
our AI created pizza or
or people who hate AI wouldn't go.
that. That's a
I know who
possibility.
those people are too. They've told me that already. What's your second one?
In Madrid, they built a $1.9 billion stadium. They were building this for years. It was state of the art. It apparently had a retractable roof and it was like very open air, and they could easily convert from an elevated floor into a concrete floor. So they could switch within 25 minutes from a concert venue into a soccer game. They canceled all their concerts
Because
completely because it was too noisy. They were getting so many noise complaints from the neighborhood. They were actually being sued. So they put everything on hold. Can you believe that? That's crazy. And it's because they did this open air design as part of it, but also because they had so many rowdy drunk people at the concerts walking around the neighborhoods that
oh
people,
no, how did that happen?
I don't know. Doesn't happen when I go to concerts.
Drunk people at a concert. Oh my. I have an interesting one for you. I'm going to share my screen again. I think you'll find this interesting. Okay, take a look. The internet spent years searching for this woman and she did not know. A mysterious woman came to be known on Reddit as Celebrity Number 6. She told us she is not sure how to feel about the sudden crush of attention. You can see here in this picture, let me make it bigger here. This is a picture. She was included, her face, on a piece of fabric years ago.
Her face
Everybody
was?
fabric. Everybody else was on the fabric, was all of these people were identifiable. You could see the sketches of them. She was in the middle somewhere and nobody knew who she was. 40,000 people joined a group hunting for her. 5 years ago, a Reddit user posted an image of a piece of cloth printed with illustrations of faces. Some were celebrities, like a model, Adriana Lima, and the actor Orlando Bloom, but one face just remained a mystery. 40,000 people tried to find her. Users identified each celebrity, and somebody digitally edited, I'm reading this, the original image to make it look less like fabric and more like a person. Another user tracked down the photography of the original image that had been used in the fabric, and the picture came from a Spanish magazine in 2006. The photographer confirmed legitimacy. Finally, word got back to her. She spoke to the New York Times, and she said, basically, it's funky. One day I opened my email. This guy says, hello, can you confirm this is your face? And she said, yeah, it's me, but who are you? He tried to explain, but she had no idea it was going to be so big. So anyway, I'll stop sharing, but it was
That
she.
is amazing.
Is that something? Is
Was
that
she
something?
modeling? So she was
She
a
was a
model.
model. She was a model. Yes, absolutely. She said, I was wearing a yellow silk dress with no back from Versace, and I really wanted to keep it. It was an editorial from Woman magazine. Really nice editorial. She quit modeling. Her grandma got sick. She had to go to work doing something else to take care of her. And she said, I've downloaded 27 apps in the last 2 days to see what's going on TikTok. She's now a fan of TikTok. So we'll leave that one there. So I thought that'd be fun for you. So what's your next one?
I like it. I'm going to look her up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think she should get some kind of retribution for that. There must be some kind of, yeah.
Yep.
Do you know what fly tipping is?
Never heard of it.
Me neither. So I found this article that this woman was fined 500 pounds, I think, for fly tipping. And I'm like, what is that? She left an IKEA cabinet out on her curb, which I don't know if you guys do this where you live, but we often leave furniture out in our curb, trash night. Typically, someone comes around, picks it up. Back in the day before when I was first divorced and didn't have money, and we often trash picked.
Yeah.
To furnish our house. And so we'll often do that here. Well, she left this IKEA cabinet out there. It had some of her kids' toys in it. She cleaned it out, left it out on the curb, and somebody stopped and told her, you can't leave that there. That's against the law. So she moved it. She moved it back up onto her porch or something. And a few days later, they showed up with an official camera on to record the interaction, and we're arresting her for, it's called fly tipping. When you leave something at your curb, when you leave trash at your curb like that.
Why fly tipping? Where does the name come from?
I
Is it
don't know.
like, it's not like putting money in a fly's hands. Is it tipping? Fly tipping. Huh.
It's the UK, so
Wh-
I don't know. I have to ask some of my UK friends where that comes from, but I had to
When
read the whole article because I kept going, what fly tipping? What is that?
Interesting. When my sister lived in New Jersey, she passed away several years ago, but there used to be a wonderful flea market on the weekend. So when my mother and I would drive to Jersey and visit my sister, we'd go, and it was behind a fire station. And you'd drive down a hill past the fire station. There was a big wooded area with a huge parking lot behind it. And it was an amazing flea market with hundreds of vendors and all kinds of stuff, garage cleanouts and crafts and vintage stuff. Anyway, on the way back to her house for lunch, after we did what we did, we bought what we bought. Yes, bags and bags of really interesting stuff. Of course, it was interesting. I had to justify that. And all the bargains we got. Of course, we got bargains. Well, some of us did, some of us didn't. Anyway, we passed houses that had signs out front, free at the curb, whatever it was. These were things that they had maybe sold but had leftovers that nobody wanted. So we stopped at one place, and I think there was some mugs or glassware. People always collect too many mugs, but there was a small blanket that was open white. It was yarn, white stitch, and it was just pretty, not too big. It looked like it might have been handmade by somebody. And this is way before bed bugs. I picked up the blanket, brought it home, washed it a couple times. It is still with me, probably 20 years later. And I use it to cover my couch because I sometimes eat dinner when I'm watching TV and I want to protect my red couch. So
Yeah.
I still have that darn thing. And I found it on the curb at somebody's leftovers from a garage sale. They didn't want it. They put the stuff out on the curb. What do you think of that? Cool?
I probably still have some of my original furniture that we picked up off of curbs down in the basement. I used to, my
Mm-hmm.
kids were young, and I'd be driving down the street and go, I come home, I go, Chelsea, somebody has four matching wooden chairs on the curb. We have to go get them. She'd be like, Mom, no, no. And I'd make her go with me. And then after she'd watch me struggle to get them in the car by myself, she'd be like, get back in the car, I'll do it. She said today, I just wanted to be out of there as quickly as possible before my friends saw me.
Fi- Finders keepers, finders keepers. There was a house couple blocks from me in Great Neck when I was selling on eBay. I was in between jobs and I was doing a lot of selling on eBay, not making a lot, but just having fun doing it. And I saw a stack of magazines at the curb at a house. And my mother was over visiting me, having lunch with me a couple blocks away from this house. So I said, "Okay, Mom, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to drive over there and you're going to then be the getaway driver. I'm going to get out and I'm going to pick up these magazines because they looked interesting and old. I'm going to put them in the trunk. You're going to slide over to the driver's seat and you're going to quick make a getaway when I get back in the car." So she agreed. Well, we did. And it was vintage Life magazines, a
Oh,
lot of them. And I went back to the house the next day and there were more. And I knocked on the door and I said, "Are you really getting rid of these?" And the woman said, "Yes. And I've got more to give you." And there were stacks. We're talking hundreds.
that
Some
was one of my
vintage
favorite magazines growing up. The pictures,
Jackie Kennedy riding a horse on the cover, Jackie Kennedy on a horseback riding not that long after Jack was assassinated. And there were some iconic covers of rock stars, of scientists, of moonshots. Unbelievable. So I started cataloging them and I sold quite a few on eBay. I sold them, made a couple bucks, not a lot, but a couple. But the woman said she had the basement had been flooded and she tried to get them out. So I dried them out on the balcony of my apartment in a hot sun to get the moisture out of them and the mildew out of them. And I was able to recover most of these magazines, but there were it was about 150. And then she had framed posters and she gave me those too. She said, "Sure, come and take them." It was a anyway, talk about curb. Do you have any more headlines? I've got one more.
go ahead, go.
Okay. Why do so many people wear all black? Okay.
Oh, you sent me this. And
Yes.
I went looked in my closet and realized
Yes.
that there's a lot of black in there.
There you go. Well, I highlighted and you know that middle schools have been trying to get kids not to do because it's supposed to be the color of depression and threat and fear and hostility and
It's the
all that.
color of thin.
Thank you. Well, that's not mentioned in the article, but I was going to add that. Okay, here we go. Black is the color of witches, of ninjas, of rock stars, of the beatniks, the Hong Kong protesters, Darth Vader, Johnny Cash, Batman, Morticia Adams with two D's, Lydia Dietz. It's associated with mystery, mourning, eccentricity, and elegance. Yes. The allure of the little black dress, the LBD, we already know
Yes.
about that. Also, teenage rebellion and angst. Fashion people are known to love black, even though Anna Wintour reportedly hates it. Well, too bad. Many designers, including Yamamoto, are partial to it. He told the New York Times, "Black is modest and arrogant at the same time. Black is lazy and easy, but mysterious. But above all, black says this: I don't bother you. You don't bother me."
I like that.
And Kate Lamphere is the women's style editor of T Magazine and a favorite of street style photographers, thanks to her personal look, which is she mostly wears black. She said, "All black quickly became my go-to uniform early in my career for two simple reasons. First, it looks more expensive than it is. Add that to Thin Cherry." And she says, "This was essential when I was a struggling assistant and couldn't afford the very best. And second, it's easy. You could essentially get dressed in the dark. You don't have to worry about clashing patterns, what color goes with what, or sticking out like a sore thumb in chartreuse. Perish the thought." And precisely because there are so many cultural associations attached to the color black, it comes ready-made with a certain amount of mystery and provocation. What is yours? I thought that was interesting. And you know me, black, 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 right?
Yeah. Well, and I like the way you use it, Bonnie. I like, the idea that you can
Thank
just
you.
throw black or a splash of color, any color.
That's it. That's it. I have one more, Sherry, and this will close us out. I found a headline for a banana bread recipe. Okay. And it was not any, it was delicious. It was the best I've ever made because I had added a handful of fresh blueberries to the banana bread. And they went to the bottom, sunk to the bottom, and they made it so moist it lasted for a week
I
in my
heard you
fridge.
talk about this, and I thought
Phenomenal.
this was a great
But
idea.
here is the recipe on the directions. All I won't bother you with the ingredients, but the directions. The first one says, remove odd pots and pans from your oven. The comments were nobody puts that in a recipe, and this recipe had remove odd pots and pans
That would
from.
be actually very useful for me and my family because
There
I,
you
I
go.
have a cast iron skillet that I always put in the oven.
It's from food.com. Let me just show it so everybody could see it. This is real. It was the funniest thing. The comments online were hysterical. Here's the recipe, okay? First line here, ingredients, butter, eggs, bananas, flour, vanilla. Directions, remove odd pots and pans from the oven. This was from food.com/recipe/best-banana-bread-2886. Is that cool or what?
That is cool.
Yep. And people were hysterical in the comments. They were saying, "What? Nobody's ever said that." Of course, I keep cookie trays in the oven in case I'm baking a quiche or something that could spill, but they don't burn and they don't char and they just sit there. So I could keep them
Right.
in when I cook. But
They
anything else,
absorb the heat. I think that's the
yeah,
important part of
I think
baking.
so. I think so. So anything else you want to talk about before we say goodbye?
Today, this was a good conversation.
Yeah, I think so. So I want to wish everybody well. Let me tee up. We're going to do the outro music as always, because I can't use the video because it was just the opening video. You know that, Jerry. So I have to go back into share and I have to go to advanced and I have to go to computer audio and I
You're
have to
giving
do
me all your
share.
secrets.
I know it's just terrible. Sherry, I wish you well, and I'm glad you're keeping calm and you've got your kids around you, and we all wish you a good landing if you want to land somewhere. And if you want to do something on your own, I'm here to talk to you about it because
I know.
maybe we could do something together. Okay,
I
here we
think I'm
go.
talking to my friend Martin soon too.
Oh, really?
Or
Let
did you talk to him recently?
he was on my Technology Revolution show, and he's coming on in a couple weeks again on the future of drones.
Yep.
So
He's
yeah, he,
yeah, yep.
he, he's
We're both
he's
gone from Rising.
he's calling it a sabbatical. I think he's thinking he's taking family time right now.
He really enjoys his family, and we should have him on this show to tell us about the bread he bakes.
Well, I'm going to start a new show called One Too Saucy Dame and One Brave Dude. I will
Okay.
invite Martin as my first guest. Okay. And I'll
Okay.
tell you when, and you can watch it. Here we go with our music. Let me turn the F10 key back on, make sure the audio is up. Here we go. It worked.
So you
I'm
wanna
getting
be
good at this. Dance with me, Sherry.
a cool kid
That's Serge Hoffman singing my lyrics.
with an ink set,
I'll read the lyrics next time.
looking real cool and fine. Asking you faking it. So you wanna be
Here's the bridge. Bop, 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 bop. Okay, bring it down. Bye, so